Hello, my favorite fourth graders. We're here today to we're going to review some things we know, but we're also going to go over some things that we haven't gone over yet. So in the instructions, I wanted you to have your textbook open to lesson 103. You need scratch paper, and you need a pencil. And that's what you need. So if you don't have that, pause the video and run and get it. Okay, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to go over fractions that are equal to 1. We have already gone over this, and you already know it. If you see a fraction, and it's 7 over 7, what is that going to equal? Yep, it's always going to equal to 1. If you have 57 over 57, it is going to equal to 1. Anytime the numerator and the denominator is the same, it equals 1. And if you will see, I'm going to show you an illustration. If you have a circle and that circle's cut into 4 pieces, let's say we have a pizza, and it's cut into 4 slices. So we have 4 slices. We still have 4 slices because none have been eaten. So we don't say we have 4/4 of a pizza. What do we say? We say we have 1 whole pizza. So that's pretty easy, isn't it? So example 1 in our book says, which of these fractions is equal to 1? And I knew y'all already knew that. And the answer is what? Yep, 6. And that's for the first one. We've already done that. Now, example 2 says, write a fraction equal to 1 that has a denominator of 7. You already know how to do this too. We just haven't done it this way yet. So my denominator is 7. So if it equals 1, what has to be my numerator? Yes, 7/7. That's so right. And even if we had the number 150 on the bottom, for it to equal 1, our numerator has to equal our denominator. So our numerator is 150 also. So that's pretty easy, isn't it? Now, if you look right there on page 655 with your circle fractions, do you say it says a half? And your circle's broken up into 4 pieces. You have 2 4s, 3 6, and then 4 8s. But all of those circles equal what? Yes, a half. So anytime you have a number, 5 times 1 is 5, and your numerator, you can multiply it by 2. 5 times 2 is 10. Sometimes people say if you have a number here and then its double is on the bottom, it's going to equal a half, because what's a double of 6? 12. What's the double of 5? 10. You are so right. You know, what is the double of 200? 100, yeah. So there you go. How easy is that? And what does that always equal? It equals a half. So let's learn that. And sometimes even when you have harder fractions, you could think that times 2 or that plus itself. Sometimes it would be easier, say 72. We have 72. Instead of doing 72 times 2, you might could do 72 plus 72 in your mind for mental math. And what's 2 plus 2 is 4. 7 plus 7, 14. So guess what this equals? A half. All right. So I know I feel like I'm traveling fast, but some of this is easy and we've already gone over it. Now look at example 3 on page 656. It has 3 sevenths, 6 twelfths, and 5 ninths. I have 3 fractions. A says which fraction is below a half? Okay. Well, I'm going to push this up a minute. Which fraction is below a half? We already know that 6 twelfths is our half. Now, I'm going to show you, I should have written that smaller, shouldn't I? I'm going to show you how to tell a fraction is greater than a half or less than a half. Are you listening? You look at the denominator, and what's half of 12 is 6. So that is equal to a half. We have 6, we have 12. Half of 12 is 6, so that's equal to a half. Now we have 7. Half of 7 is what? Yeah, 3.5. Half of 7 is 3.5. So look at this, 3.5. Is 3 less than 3.5 or greater? It's less. So right here, this would be less than a half. And right here, half of 4, even though it's not an even number, it has a half, is 4.5. 4.5 plus 4.5 equals 9. So half of your denominator is 4.5. Is 5 greater than 4.5 or less than 4.5? Yes, it's greater. So this would be greater than a half. You see that? I'm going to do some more of those right here with you. Let's look at 4. I'm going to get another marker. This marker, the tip of it is not sharp and it's writing fatter than I like for it to. So just a minute. Let me open another one. All right. So let's do 4/7. Okay. What's half of 7? 3.5. So half of 7 is 3.5. So we know that 4 is larger than 3.5. So 4/7 is going to be greater than 1/2. We're looking at our denominator and our numerator. Let's look at another one. Let's say 9/20. Okay, 9/20. Is it going to be greater than a half? Less than a half? We know it's not equal because half of 20 is 10. 10/20 would equal a half. But is this going to be larger than a half or smaller than a half? What's half of 20? Yes, half equals 10. Half of 20 is 10. Now look up here at 9. Is 9 smaller than 10 or larger than 10? Yes, it's smaller. So 9/20 is less than a half. Okay, I'm going to do a few more for you. Let's see. Let's do 5/8. If I have 5/8, what's half of 8? 4. So if half of 8 equals 4, is 5 greater than 4 or less than 4? Yes, it's greater. So 5/8 is greater than a half. And then 4/8 would do what? Equal a half. And then we could go on to 5/8, 4/8, 3/8. Half of 8 is 4. So 3/8 would be smaller than a half. We're looking at our denominator and finding the number that is half. Finding the number that is half. So, in your book, on example 4, it says 3/8 is greater than, less than, or equal to 1/2. We know what half is, and I want you to look at 8. What is half of 8? Yes, it's 4. Is 3 greater than 4 or less than 4? Yes, it is less than. So that makes it less than. So you find your denominator. You find its half. If this number is less than that number, it's less than. If this number, your numerator, is greater than that number, it is greater than. We will practice some more on that. Look at example 5. Says round 6 7/10 to the nearest whole number. So 6 7/10. And don't panic on this one, boys and girls. Don't panic, because we're looking at a number line. And on that number line, it has 6, 6.5, and 7. And it says round 6 7/10 to the nearest whole number. So we're asking ourselves, is 6 7/10 going to round down to 6 or up to 7? Don't panic, because I'm going to show you how to do it. First of all, we're not going to look at the 6 right now, okay? I'm just going to take it away. We're going to look at 7/10. Do you remember how we just did this? I'm going to write this right here, 7/10, right here. All right? We're going to see if 7/10 is greater than 6 1/2 or less than 6 1/2. Look at your 10. What is half of 10? 5. Look at your numerator. Is 7 greater than 5 or less than 5? Yes, it is greater than 5. So 6 7/10 would go right here in the number line, and we would round the number up to 7. Now that's a little bit, to me, trickier for some reason. Maybe it's the whole number. So let's just do some more. Let's go 4 and I use tenths, so let's use twelfths this time. 4 twelfths. So 4 and 4 twelfths. So are you going to round this number down to 4 or up to 5? What's it closer to? The whole number 4 or the whole number 5? So first of all, you look at your denominator and you find half of your denominator. What's half of 12? Yes, 6. Ask yourself, is 4 less than 6 or greater than 6? It's less than 6. So since it's less than 6, we're going to round 4 and 4 twelfths down to 4. Okay, let's do another one. Let's use the numbers 7 and 8 15ths. Are we going to round it down to 7 or up to 8? What do? We look at our denominator first. Half of 15 is what? 7 plus 7 is 14. So half equals 7 1/2. All right, so half of 15 is 7 1/2. Look at your 8. Is 8 greater 7 1/2 or less than 7 1/2? Yes, it's less than, so you're going to round down to 7 again. Okay? Good job. Good job. We can come back to those. If you need my help, you can just let me know. Look at example 6. We're going to estimate the perimeter of the area of this rectangle. So what they want to do, they want us to estimate. So what do we do when we estimate? What do you do when you hear estimate? Yep, we round. So we've got 7 is 7/8 inches. And we've got 4 1/4 or 4 1/4 inches. All right, so they're wanting you to tell them, are you going to round this up? This number is going to round up to 8 or down to 7. This one right here. Look at your denominator. Half of 8 equals 4. Is 7 greater than 4 or less than 4? Oh, yes, it's greater than 4. So we're going to round it up to 8. 4 1/4, 4 1/4. What's half of 4? Is 2. Okay, is 1 larger than 2 or less than 2? It's less than 2, so you're going to round this 4 1/4 down to 4. Now, how are you going to find the perimeter? Well, you've got a square. Rectangle, excuse me. You got your rectangle. We just rounded this to 8 inches and this to 4 inches. So what are we going to do? We're going to add all the sides. 8 plus 4 plus 8 plus 4. So 8 plus 4 is 12, and 12 plus 12 is 24. My perimeter equals 24 inches. How do you find your area? Yep, I hope everybody knows that by now, because we have been doing that a long time. We find our area by multiplying our length times